Okay, this is the video segment 4 for homework number 12, section 3.6, which is the law of cosine. Let's concentrate on number 39. Yeah, number 39. So basically, it's a surveying problem. So somebody measured the distance from A to C, came out to be that many miles, from C to A that many miles, and they using the surveying devices, gadgets, they also found out what the angle between these two lines are. The question is, what is the distance between A and B? Now, notice that this is a practical problem because you have access from A to C. You can measure things. You have access from B to C, and you can measure distance, and then you can figure out what the angle is. There's no way you can, it's not as easy to measure from A to B, which goes through the lake. So we have to use the law of cosine here, and the cosine of, well, let's write it like this. AB we don't know, okay, so we say AB squared equal to the sum of the other two sides squared, 28, 2 point, yeah, I think it's 2.82 squared plus 3.56 squared plus 2, minus, law of cosine, this is minus 2 times 2.82 times 3.56 times the cosine of the angle between the two, which is 40.3 degrees. Okay, so AB is equal to square root of this thing, 2.82 squared plus 3.56 squared minus 2 times 2.82 times 3.56 times cosine of 40.3 degrees. Now you need a calculator. Obviously, that means that on the quiz or test you have to bring your calculator. So second function, square root. Now I've got to go back to read these numbers. Let's see. It wasn't here, it was there. 2.82, 3.56. 2.82 squared plus, squared. Plus 3.56 also squared, minus 2 times 2.82 times 3.56 times cosine of the angle between them, and that was 40.3, is that correct? 40.3, so backspace, 40.3, close the parentheses, and enter. So that is 2.3. 2.3, if I round to the second digit, 2.3 miles. This is approximately 2.30 miles. Okay, so let's look at number 43. It says that a pilot flies in a straight path like this for 1 hour and 30 minutes. 1 hour and 30 minutes. And notice that it also gives the constant speed, so we know exactly what that distance is. So that's going to be 1.5 hours, 1 hour and 30 minutes, 1.5 hours, times 625. This is going to give distance in miles. Let me call this thing A to B. And then it says it makes a correction heading 10 degrees to the right. So my guess is that it's saying that this angle is 10 degrees unless I'm interpreting this thing wrong, but I think that's okay. And it says it flies 2 hours, so that's going to be distance is going to be 2 times 625. This is distance in miles to end up at C. And it says, okay, how far has he traveled? So it's this distance that we want, distance AC. Now, if this angle is 10 degrees, and my interpretation of what this is saying is correct, this is going to be 170 degrees. Okay, so in order to find AC, we need the law of cosine. Let me go down here. Let's do it here for you. AC is equal to square root of 1.5 times 625 squared plus 2 times 625 squared minus 2 times 1.5 times 625. That's the distance, right? Times 2 times 625 times the cosine of 170 degrees. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this stuff in the calculator. We need the second function, square root. Okay, so it's going to be parentheses 1.5 times 625. That's this thing squared plus parentheses 2 times 625 quantity squared minus 2 times 1.5 times 625 times 2 times 625 times cosine, the cosine is right here, cosine of 170 degrees, and enter. It's going to be 2,179 miles, 2,179 miles, 2,179. This is approximately 2,179 miles. All right, so that takes care of this. Now here's another problem. This is number 3, so let's do this one. It says, all right, you have a fisherman leaves the home port. Here's the home port down here, home port, and it moves to the northwest by 30 miles at that direction, and then reaches the Egg Island, and then moves northeast to Forest Island, 10 degrees and 50 miles. The question is, what is the distance between the fisherman's home port and Forest Island? So it's this distance that you want to find. You want to find this distance. Let's see what do we know here. So we have 2 sides we know, this side and that side we know. Okay, so what? Okay, so we have to find some angles here. Let's see now. This angle is 70. Okay, so here's the situation. If this angle is 10, this angle is 10. Because when you add it to that middle one, you get 90, so the must be 10. And if that angle is 10, this angle is 10. Okay? All right, so this angle is 10, and okay, so that angle we got. Okay, so this whole thing is this whole thing is 80. Wait a minute, something may not be right here. Let's figure out what's going on. So this angle is 10. The angle over here is 10. This, oh, I'm sorry. No. Let's clean this up. Whoa, that's not right. Okay, so let's try it again. Once again, we have to find some angles here. Let me see. Let me connect this to that line. No problem. This is okay. So let me drop. See what do we know here? That angle being 70 degrees means that this angle is 20. Okay, look, this is 70, and if you draw the horizontal line here, this becomes 20. If that is 20, that means this angle is 20. Okay, and if that angle is 20, then let's see now, this angle, okay, this angle must be 80, of course. Okay, so that angle on the top, this angle, let me draw that for you. The situation that we got, this one is 100 degrees. 80 plus 20 is 100 degrees, and this is 50 miles, and this is 30 miles. Look, these problems, you have to look at the drawing very carefully and basically work it out. So this distance, I'll call this thing ABC. How about that? Okay, so the length BC is unknown, so BC is equal to square root of 50 squared plus 30 squared minus 2 times 50 times 30 times the cosine of 100 degrees. Okay, so that goes into our calculator. Second function, square root. Okay, 30 squared plus 50 squared minus 2 times 30 times 50 times the cosine of 100 degrees. Oops, there's too many parentheses here. Close the parentheses. Okay, I don't need this. I don't need this, so how do I get rid of that? Should I delete it? The problem is that if I delete, the whole thing may go. No, okay, good. Oh, there's a multiplied here. I forgot the multiplication here. Times, nope, 50 times cosine of 100 and close it. That's it. 62.61. If I round it to the second digit, 61.62. So this is approximately 61.62 miles. That's this, 61.62. And I think here in part B, my understanding is that you're asking about this angle, okay? And is that right? Find the bearing from the forest island back to, I'm not sure what they mean by this. bearing from the forest island back to his home port. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means. My guess is that if that's this angle, then we can find it. We have to find it. Yeah. So how do we find this angle? This is 20. Okay, so that means that we need this angle, and this angle, this red angle. See that? This one or that angle. We have to use the law of the sines, and then we subtract it from 70 to get the little angle on that we want to find. So this angle from we have sine of c over 50 equal to, for example, sine of 100 over 61.62. So sine of c is equal to 50 sine of 100 degrees. We need degrees here, over 61.62, and the angle C is equal to sine inverse of this guy, 50 sine of 100 degrees divided by 61.62. So let's go ahead and find it. 50 times that. Second function, sine inverse, 50 times sine of 62.61, close it, divided by, oh no, I'm sorry, this is sine of 100, that's a mistake. Let's go back here. This is sine of 100. Oh boy, what is this? Times sine of 100, close it, divided by 62.61. It's not correct. 62.61. 62.61. And now close it and enter. 51.85. So this angle came out to be this angle, 51.85. And if you want to find that angle, which I think is the answer to C, if I read it correctly, so the answer is going to be 70 minus 51.6, minus 51.85, approximately 8.15 degrees. I think that's what they're asking for. Okay, so we have these two problems, and I'm going to do these in the next video segment, the final video segment. I don't want these to become too long.